Hello! Greetings mga ka-spacers out there! Worldwide and netwide from Luzon, Visayas and Mindanao. Magandang araw po sa inyong lahat. This is your ka-spacer and space commander, Professor Jun Cajigal. And right now, you are viewing on screen our sun with sunspots. So kung nakikita niyo po sa ating solar image ngayong araw na ito, makikita nyo may mga ilang sunspots dyan. Today is February 1, 2022 and it's a Chinese New Year. So sa mga brothers and sisters natin from the Chinese community, Happy New Year po sa inyo. Alright, so kabati po yan sa amin, sa Vedan Society of Young Astronomers, Skywatcher Society of Las Piñas, Manila Street Astronomers, and the Philippine Astronomical Society. Yan po. Happy New Year po sa inyong lahat. Alright, so right now you are viewing on screen our sun with observable sunspots. Ayan po. And in a few minutes, we will magnify the image of the sun. And bago po tayo magpatuloy, shout out muna po sa mga members and crew of the Vedan Society of Young Astronomers headed by Miss Angeline Kilang. Yan, pabati sa inyo mga masisipag kong mga officers and crew of BSYA and kay Miss Hannah Franz Tan na kaarawan pala niya ngayon no, Feb 1. So happy birthday Miss Hannah Franz Tan. Ayan, so isa sa siyang mga officers ng BSYA. So maligayang kaarawan no, sa iyo. Alright, so in a few minutes so we will magnify the image of the sun. And siguro bago tayo mag-magnify ng image ng sun, bibigyan ko muna kayo ng mga facts about sunspots. So itong mga sunspots na ito, they appear dark. Yan, di ba? Nakikita nyo sa ating solar imaging, they appear dark on the surface of the sun because they are cooler no, than the other parts of the sun surface o yung photosphere. Ang photosphere po kasi may temperature of about 6,000 degrees Kelvin. No? Kelvin po yung ginagamit na unit. So talagang mainit po. No? And ang sunspot, they are cooler than the surrounding photosphere. So kung 6,000 degrees Kelvin yung photosphere, siguro mga 4,000 degrees or 5,000 degrees Kelvin yung mga sunspots na yan. Ngayon ang tanong, why is it that sunspots are relatively cool? No? That's why they appear dark than the surrounding photosphere. Bakit ganon? Bakit medyo cooler yung temperature niya? Now, it's because they form at areas where the magnetic fields are particularly strong. So, itong mga sunspots na to, mga ka-spacers, they are actually magnetic storms. And these magnetic fields are so strong that they keep some of the heat within the sun from reaching the surface. Kaya ganun po siya, medyo cooler po yung temperature niya because these magnetic fields, they are so powerful, they are so strong that they keep some of the heat from the heat within the sun from reaching the photosphere. So isn't that fascinating? Yun po yung explanation kung bakit medyo cooler yung temperature niya, and yun din po dahilan kung bakit itong mga sunspots na to, they appear dark. No? Alright, so itong mga magnetic storms po ito. And ito po hindi ko pa nababanggit sa mga previous online telescope viewings, may epekto po ito sa mundo natin. Alright, so siguro bago po tayo magpatuloy, you are now viewing on screen the magnified image of our sun. And ito po, nakakapangha itong dalawang malaking itong sunspot. Ilang araw ko na itong naobserbahan. And up to now po, hindi po ako nagsasawa at ako po ay namamangha pa rin talaga sa dalawang malalaking sunspots na ito. And kitang-kita po yung lighter outer section called the penumbra. Yan, kitang-kita nyo po. And yung darker central region or umbra. Ayan po, minagnify ko po ulit. Yan, so kitang-kita po yung lighter outer section called the penumbra and the darker central region named umbra. Fascinating indeed po. So kung kayo po ay namamangha, if you're fascinated by what you are seeing right now, mag-comment po kayo, comment down below. And we would like to hear from you mga ka-spacers. Ayan po, so you don't see this every day, no? Alright, so medyo maulap pa. Nakikita nyo po yung ulap na umaandar. Yan, kitang-kita po yung lighter outer section niya. Yung penumbra yung darker central region called the umbra. And ito po, itong sunspot na ito, kahapon maliit lang to pero lumaki po ngayon and may mga malilit po sa likod niya, parang follow the leader. So yung malaki yun yung leader, tapos sa likod niya may mga maliliit na butlig-butlig na itim kung napansin niyo po yun. Then ito po, parang lumitaw po ito, parang bago po ito, itong grupo na ito na maliliit. And I'm sure in the following days to come, lalaki po din yan. And hindi ko sinasabi na pag maliit yan, maliit. Itong mga sunspots na ito, mga ka-spacers, they are much bigger than our planet. Ayan. Alright, so ito din po yung kahapon medyo maliit to pero ngayon may lumaki siya and may mga maliliit na spots nasa likod niya. Parang follow the leader po itong malaki, parang ito yung nanay and yung maliliit sa likod parang yung mga anak. Alright, so ito din yung isang grupo na ito na maliliit na sunspots, no? Pero I'm sure in the following days, lalaki po yan. Alright, so yan ang inaantabayanan ko. Yan yung paglaki ng mga grupo na yan. Okay, and ito din yung dalawang nakakamanghang malaking sunspots na ino-observe ko na these past few days. Ayan po. So again, kitang-kita po yung penumbra, yung lighter outer section, and yung umbra, yung central, darker central region. Alright, and talagang this is really a great time to observe the sun kasi yung mga sunspot, the sun is quite active in terms of sunspot activity. Ayan po, so that's our magnified image of our sun. So we would like to hear, we would like to know your reactions or your comments. So please type in mga ka-spacers your reactions, your comments in our comment section below. Alright, and kung meron po kayong mga katanungan about the sun or anything about astronomy, just type in your questions below. And kung magtataka po kayo kung ano yung ginagamit ko dito in observing the sun, ito po yung picture ng telescope. Nasa taas po ng aking camera. Ito po yung ginagamit ko in observing the sun. So this is a Vixen 80mm. Pag sinabi ko po yung 80mm, yun po yung diameter ng objective lens. It's a Vixen 80mm custom refracting telescope na may 15mm Plossil eyepiece. Yung Plossil eyepiece, that's the workhorse of amateur astronomy, mga ganyan na eyepiece. And kung makikita niyo po, meron parang silvery film dun sa harapan ng telescope. That is a Baader solar filter. Ayan, so I can observe the sun safely na hindi po masisira yung mata ko because of that solar filter. Alright, so again, never directly observe the sun through the telescope na walang solar filter. Look what happened to Galileo. Ayan, paulit-ulit ko itong sinasabi, no? Do not observe the sun directly pag walang protection. Alright, like this Baader solar filter. Si Galileo po walang ganun, but he was the first to observe sunspots. No, kaya lang nasira po yung mata niya. So this is just one of the several ways of observing the sun using that Baader solar filter. But there are other methods like the projection method, using solar glasses or yung welder's glass. But be sure the welder's glass is gauge 14. Pero wag po kayong gagamit ng mga x-ray films, no? Yung mga camera films. Wag din po kayong gagamit ng mga candy wrappers kasi may mga silvery wrapping po dun sa mga candy wrappers. Huwag niyo pong gagawin yun. Huwag niyo pong i-observe yung araw using those candy wrappers. They don't give adequate protection. Okay? Baka masisira po yung mata ninyo. Maniwala po kayo sa akin. Alright, so yan, ginagamitan po namin ng solar filter or we use the projection method using solar glasses, yung gauge 14 na welder's glass. Okay, para we can enjoy the sun without destroying or damaging our eyes. Okay, so ayan po yung ating araw ngayon with those sunspots. Today is Feb 1, 2022. And again, sa mga kapatid natin, mga ka-spacers natin from the Chinese community, Happy New Year po sa inyong lahat. Alright, sana nag-enjoy po kayong araw na ito. Okay, mga ka-spacers, ngayon ang tanong, baka makalimutan ko kasi, ano ngayon ang epekto ng mga sunspots na ito sa mundo natin? Alright, so itong mga sunspots na ito, the powerful magnetic fields in the vicinity of sunspots produce active regions on the sun, mga ka-spacers, which in turn frequently spawn disturbances such as solar flares and coronal mass ejections or CMEs. Alright, because sunspots are associated with solar activity, space weather forecasters track these features in order to help predict outbursts of solar storms, mga solar flares. Kasi itong mga solar flares at itong mga solar storms, they affect radio communications, they can also affect power lines. So in a way, medyo nakakabahala din, no? Kasi yung mga powerful magnetic storms na ito na galing sa araw may disrupt radio communication, yung supply ng kuryente, mga power lines baka maapektuhan. Alright, so ayan po yung influence ng araw sa atin, no? Alright, so sunspots form over periods lasting from days to weeks. Kahit itong dalawang malaki na ito, medyo ilang araw ko na hong inoobserbahan, and can persist for weeks or even months, no? Dahil itong dalawang malaki na ito, ilang araw ko na hong nakikita na obserbahan. Alright, so the average number of spots visible on the face of the sun is not constant. Yan, di ba may nawala po? Kahapon may nakita ko dun, may nawala ngayon. Tapos may nadagdagan po ngayon. No? Alright, so etong sinasabi ko po kanina, no, itong dalawang ito, medyo ilang araw ko na ito na nakikita, no, sa photosphere. Alright, so itong mga sunspots na to, they may last from days or even weeks, even months. Yan, so oobserbahan po natin ulit yan, no? Itong dalawang to kung mawawala or whatever, no? Alright. Okay, so ayan po itong dalawang ito. Yan, so nakikita nyo din po yung lighter outer region or the penumbra, and yung darker central region or umbra. Ayan po. Okay, itong mga sunspots again po, these are powerful magnetic storms na nasa photosphere. Okay, so nakakamangha po talaga. So if you are fascinated by what you are seeing right now, please type in your reactions, no, in our comment section below. Okay, so ayan po yung lighter outer section or the penumbra, and the darker central region or umbra. Okay, then eto po, ayan, so kahapon, no, maliit lang yan pero ngayon medyo lumaki at may mga anak na nasa likod na maliliit na butlig na itim na nasa likod niyan. And eto po, ay ano lang nito, itong maliliit na to na butlig-butlig na itim, yan, parang bago po yan pero siguro in the following days to come, lalaki din po yan. No? So yan po yung ating oobserbahan. Alright, so isn't that fascinating, no? Yung mga sunspots na yun, ang dami. Yung isa po, talagang isang grupo yan, no, na madami. Ito din, yung malaki, tas may mga butlig-butlig na itim na nasa likod niya. No? So lalaki din po yan mga ka-spacers in the following days to come. Okay. So ayan po, yung isa pang grupo din yan, no? Ayan, maliliit na yan. Okay, so ayan po, no? So hindi po constant yung sunspots, no? So nadadagdagan, medyo may nababawasan din. And they may persist for days, weeks, and even months, no, before dissipating. Alright, and the average number of spots visible on the sun's surface is not constant. Yan, nagbabago lagi yan. Okay, so yun ang nakakamangha talaga. No? Ito, kagaya na itong dalawang ito, talagang ilang araw na po yan. And nakakabilib talaga, no? So fascinating indeed. Okay, so that's our magnified image of our sun, February 1, 2022. Okay, so ayan po. Kung meron po kayong mga katanungan, if you have any questions or comments or even reactions in our solar imaging ngayong araw na ito, just type in your comments or your reactions or even questions in our comment section below. Okay po, so ayan po yung ating online telescope viewing. So again po mga ka-spacers, no, please like and share this online telescope viewing so that we could reach more people. No, lalong-lalo na po yung mga estudyante po natin para ma-engage po sila sa pag-aaral ng siyensya. And yun po yung ating advocacy dito sa Vedan Society of Young Astronomers. Ayan din po yung aming kagustuhan sa Manila Street Astronomers and Philippine Astronomical Society because we are bringing the telescope to you, mga ka-spacers. Dahil talagang hindi pa ho tayo pwedeng mag face-to-face public telescope viewing kasi po nga yung banta ng COVID-19. So ito po yung aming magagawa para ma-appreciate po ninyo yung ganda ng ating mga heavenly bodies. No? Isa tong online telescope viewing para maihatid po namin itong beauty ng astronomiya at the comforts of your own homes, mga ka-spacers. Okay po, so ayan po yung ating araw po ngayon. And siguro bago po tayo magpatuloy, gusto ko muna pong i-promote yung mga activities po namin this coming National Astronomy Week 2022. So the Philippine Astro Community will be celebrating National Astronomy Week. Actually, ang Pag-asa po ang nag-spearhead nito. Okay, the National Astronomy Week will be celebrated on Feb 20 no, to 26. Ayan po, Feb 20 to 26. Alright, and the Vedan Society of Young Astronomers have prepared several activities in line with the celebration of National Astronomy Week 2022. So on Feb 23, no, that's a Wednesday, we have a webinar. Okay, the webinar is titled Updates about the James Webb Telescope. Ayan po, very interesting po ito. And itong webinar na ito ay libre. Wala pong bayad. Ayan, so all you need to do is to register. Alright, so just visit our Facebook page, the Vedan Society of Young Astronomers, para makapag-register po kayo. Okay, at mabigay po namin yung Zoom link, and we have invited talaga mga magagaling at mga batikan na mga speakers sa aming astro community, and one of them is Mr. Christopher Liu, which he is the one of the co-founders of the Manila Street Astronomers. Ayan po. Okay, so yan po, iniimbita po namin kayong lahat, no, to attend the webinar. So kahit hindi po kayo astronomy enthusiast, basta medyo interesado kayo sa James Webb Telescope na kaka-launch lang nung Pasko, you're invited, no, para ano yung mga updates about the James. Very interesting po kasi yung mission ng James Webb Telescope in the search for life outside the solar system. Alright, and on Feb 25, that's a Friday, we will be conducting an online telescope viewing, and tinawag po namin yan na takip silim. Alright, so yung mga members ng BSYA, sila po yung mag-i-spearhead po niyan. Alright, so antabayan nyo po yan, no? Yung takip silim online telescope viewing. And on Feb 26, which is a Saturday, we will be having a Battle of the Bands. Ang tawag po namin dyan ay Rock the Stars 2022. Yun po anong kinalaman ng Battle of the Bands sa astronomiya. So in between performances, we will be having astro trivia. So nag-e-enjoy na po kayo sa music, nag-headbanging na po kayong ganon. at the same time you are learning about astronomy. Alright, so siguro ito na po yung last na natin, magnified image of the sun bago po tayo magtapos kasi 30 minutos lang po yung ating online telescope viewing. Alright, so ito po yung dalawang malaking sunspots na talagang ilang araw na po nandyan yan. Alright, so di ba ho kayo namamangha, no? Matagal na rin tong dalawang malaking sunspots na to. Okay, and later we will magnify further tong dalawang sunspots na to para makita nyo po yung penumbra. Ayan, ito po. So yung lighter outer region, ayan po yung penumbra, and then yung darker central region, yan po yung umbra. Okay, so ayan po, nakakamangha, no? And ako po personally po ako'y namamangha dito kasi you don't see this everyday. May mga pagkakataon na walang sunspots, no? Then bigla na lang itong uusbong, and ngayon po ang dami, no? So talagang fascinating. This is a great time really to observe the sun. And kasi isang damakmak na sunspots ang nakikita natin. The sun is quite active in terms of solar activity or sunspot activity. Then ito po, ayan, ito kahapon po, maliit lang yan pero may mga maliliit pa parang mga anak dun sa likod, no? Ayan, and ito din po parang bago po ito, no? Mga parang butlig-butlig na itim na siguro lalaki po yan in the following days to come. Ayan, ito po, kitang-kita po sa ating camera. Okay, so ayan po mga ka-spacers, isn't that fascinating, no? Ayan. Oh, isang grupo din yan eh. Tapos sa likod po ng malaki na may mga butig-butig na maliliit. And lalaki pa rin po yan mga ka-spacers. Okay, so isn't that fascinating? No? So if you're fascinated by what you're seeing right now, just comment down below mga ka-spacers. Ayan po, kitang-kita pa rin po yung grupo na yan, no? And I'm sure in the following days to come, lalaki po yan mga ka-spacers. Alright, so ayan po. Then I'm moving the telescope. Binabalik ko po dito sa dalawang malaki. Ayun. Okay, so kitang-kita yung lighter outer region called the penumbra and yung darker central region called umbra. Alright, so ito po, no? Ito po yung sunspot activity ng araw po ngayon, Feb 1, 2022, Chinese New Year. And again po itong mga sunspots, no, these are magnetic storms. Alright, and yung mga sunspots na yan, they are associated with solar activity like solar flares and coronal mass ejections. The powerful magnetic field in the vicinity of sunspots produce active regions on the sun, which in turn frequently spawn disturbances such as solar flares and coronal mass ejections. And yun po yung tinatrack ng ating mga space weather forecasters, no? Ayan, para they can help predict yung mga outbursts na yan of solar storms kasi nakakaapekto yan sa radio communication ng mundo natin. It affects the ionosphere ng ating atmosphere. And yung mga communications and even power lines, they are also affected pag may solar flares and coronal mass ejections. Okay. And siguro bago tayo magtapos, gusto ko lang po i-share sa inyo na ang ating araw, hindi lang po yan ang star na may sunspots. Remember mga ka-spacers, our sun is a star. And the sun isn't the only star with spots. Yan, tandaan nyo, no? In recent years, astronomers have been able to detect star spots or sunspots on other stars. Alright, so isn't that fascinating po, no, mga ka-spacers? Alright, so siguro dito na po tayo magtatapos. And again, shout out sa mga officers and crew of the Vedan Society of Young Astronomers, sa mga astronomy enthusiasts na nakatutok po ngayon. Maraming salamat for sticking around with me. Sinasamahan niyo po ako ngayong araw na ito sa ating online telescope viewing. And again, sa mga kapatid natin na nasa Chinese community, Happy New Year po sa inyong lahat. Alright, so hanggang dito na lang po tayo. This is your Kaspacer and Space Commander Professor Jun Cajigal saying, live long and prosper. And don't forget mga Kaspacers to maintain your space. Alright, so marami pong salamat and see you in my next online telescope viewing. Mag-iingat po tayo at hindi pa ho tapos yung pandemya. Nandyan pa rin po yung banta ng COVID-19. So sana po nag-enjoy po kayo sa ating online telescope viewing and kahit na po tapos ang ating online telescope viewing ngayon, please comment down below, like and subscribe po sa ating online telescope viewing. Maraming salamat po mga Kaspacers out there.